All right, let's get into this last story. This is so fascinating. Oh, man. I didn't even know about this story this morning. Apparently, Alpha News, I didn't put the article in here, but Alpha News, I was looking.
I've got it linked in my article.
Okay.
But yeah, Dawson, let's go ahead and pull up D3, and people can see this new article that we got out there talking about an artificial intelligence anti-free speech bill. Imagine a government that is so desperate for control and so out of touch with the people that they decide to pass a bill that makes artificial intelligence AI memes illegal. Despite how ridiculous and unconstitutional that sounds, Minnesota's legislature passed that law with flying colors. HF 1370 was a bill authored by Democrats and was co-authored by supposed conservative Walter Hudson. We previously reported on this law, and we were the only organized opposition to this anti-free speech legislation. House File 1370 created criminal penalties on two topics. One, pornographic deepfakes, and two, deepfake images that could, quote, influence elections. So if a meme is too accurate or too believable, the creator or sharer of that image could be fined $10,000 and spend up to 5 years in prison. Despite our exposing the truth on this issue, this bill was passed unanimously by the State House and State Senate with one exception, Senator Nathan Weissenberg. Now that Walz is being exposed on the national stage, more Minnesotans are waking up to exactly what was passed in the legislature, and apparently that even includes legislators. Rhino Representative Mary Franson has managed to prove how unprincipled and stupid she really is. Franson is now suing on free speech grounds concerning the deepfake bill that she voted for. So people can see that this was unanimously passed in the House. Franson's vote is highlighted there. There she is, voting for the bill that she now thinks is somehow unconstitutional. So, Franson, I went back and watched the debate on this bill. I wanted to go and see, let me make sure I really understand what's going on here. Franson didn't say a single word during the debate of this bill while it was on the floor on 3/30/23 or 5/16/23. One attempt was made to amend the bill by Rhino Representative Ann New Brindley, but it failed, and New Brindley did not request a roll call vote, proving that she was unserious about her amendment. Representatives Jim Nash and Harry Niska showed a little bit of skepticism, but went along with the establishment's anti-free speech bill in the end. Like Nash and Niska, Franson went along with the sheet. She is not only late to the punch on this issue, but it was a self-imposed disaster, because Franson now states that this bill, quote, represents a dramatic overreach that goes farther than any law in the country and must be challenged in court, end quote. And so while we appreciate that Mary Franson has now seen the light, we would have preferred that this challenge and fight be brought on the floor instead of over a year after the fact. So by filing this federal lawsuit, Franson is essentially admitting that she voted for an unconstitutional, big government, anti-free speech law that hurts Minnesotans, and she didn't have the guts to call it out when it mattered. Alpha News writes up a puff piece on Franson, bragging about this, but we're busy exposing her real record. And interestingly, Alpha News didn't want to include the name of the senator, the only senator who voted against this bill. For whatever reason, Alpha News is afraid to say Nathan Weissenberg's name because it seems, I'm sure people would like to know that. Was it a Republican or Democrat that voted against it? I wonder what the reasons were.
I'll give Alex a call and ask him what's up.
They could have seen that, it was you who had voted against it. So, but this shows also that she and other rhinos are engaged in their jobs incompetently. And so during the debate of this bill on the floor on 3/30/23, Representative Walter Hudson took the time to praise Democrat Zach Stevenson, the proactive nature of this bill, and said that the bill showed, quote, the type of thinking that we have to be able to do and willing to do, end quote. He also said the implementation of the bill, quote, might be a little sloppy, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Sounds like some big government anti-freedom talk. That's exactly what he said. I'm not pulling that out of my ass here. It is clear that Walter's attempts to calm down any Republican opposition was successful, which now allows an out-of-control Democrat administration to lock up people for memes. Walter did eventually take his name off this bill.
I was just going to cover that.
It was only after Democrats added more things to the bill. Once the bill was back to its original state, Hudson was back on board as a supporter. So, the next time you see someone locked up for a meme, the next time you see someone going to prison or facing jail time or getting fined $10,000, you can thank conservative Walter Hudson for that one. You can thank conservative Mary Franson. So we appreciate that she's seen the light. We appreciate that she's taking on this lawsuit. We hope that they're successful in this lawsuit. We want to see this unconstitutional law be strucken down. Considering that we're the only organized opposition to this, we'll continue to expose the truth. While Mary Franson, like I said, appreciate her doing this now, but she should have done it when the moment was right, which was when it was on the floor.
So the big problem with this bill is that it puts in so much stuff, right, when it's supposedly just taking down deep fakes.
Go back
right?
to, did
No,
you link to...
it's a pretty short bill, but essentially what it does is it says influencing elections, quote, to say that
go to
any...
D2, Dawson.
Okay.
By the way, Heinzman voted for this bill.
I was
too.
about to throw that in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I just love how you take down. I remember giving Walter a little hard time on a phone call about this because he was an initial sponsor and took his name off. So this is it looks like you wrote this one, Jesse.
Well, and like
March
I said,
31st.
when it passed again, he said, I don't know exactly how it got back in the original state, but I'm glad it is, and I'm going to tell everyone to vote for it. So
that impression was spot on. That sounds just like him.
That's exactly what Walter said. So it's annoying, but
All right, so scroll. So this is March 13th, 2023, and these that just come out, those are great. I mean, that is just spot on. I thought there was a montage of them. Maybe we just hyperlink to them. Go back up under that picture.
Yeah, if you click HF 1370.
No, don't click on that. No, I thought there was gonna be I thought we had a loop of those, but there's a bunch. There's one where like Trump is like running away from the cops. It was all. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, fake images of Trump's arrest.
I like the one with the cats. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Yup.
No, you see where it says fake images of Trump's arrest? It's the first hyperlink. There you go. So there's just like a whole montage of these things.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just so broad. Who's going to be the judge except for these Democrat judges on whether or not some sort of meme could influence the outcome of an election? It just shows that they're going to have all this power and ability to abuse it. And it's so broad to say influencing an election. I mean, that means that any meme about any politician could be considered influencing an election. So this is the kind of anti-free speech stuff that, we can thank
go back
Walter
to that
Hudson
article.
for.
Great point. And by the way, I totally forgot this in the debate section of the show. Do you guys? I mean, Tim Walz all of a sudden is quoting scripture. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, about illegal immigration.
My God, you are such a phony politician. Well, we knew that. All right, go back to the A4L article there, Dawson. And scroll down. This was Ann New Brindley, former state rep. I guess she is until she gets replaced. And that is her show. And now listen, these assholes, they know what they're doing. They're showing some fake piece by Democrats, but it's
and Representative Ben Davis loved what she had to say. I hate to say that about Ben because I like Ben, but him and the other troll in the legislature there were sitting next to each other, and they were laughing. They thought she was so funny, so creative, and all she was doing was attacking Mort. And it just shows how out of touch these people are. Eric Mortensen got more grassroots fundraising than any other representative in the entire legislature, and they don't realize how out of touch they sound when she goes up there and she just sits there and attacks and attacks and attacks. There's a reason that we liked him. It was because he was the only one who didn't spend any of the surplus money. He was the only one that didn't try to grow any government. And there's all these rhinos like her that try to do historical revisionism. And look at her. She's just so happy that Brad Tabke is in there, the Democrat, instead of Eric Mortensen, because Mort would have held them accountable.
It's pretty unfortunate that this is like the first foray into legislating against what could actually be dangerous technology when it comes to AI and deepfake
and
stuff.
It shows incompetence by these people.
Yeah, which it's so unfortunate because it is a dangerous technology if it's used incorrectly. But the fact that it's purely to cover their butts with like election
that's okay.
stuff
Walter says it might be a little sloppy, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Well, okay.
It's absurd.
I don't know how this turned into just Walter. I mean, the point of this whole bit is the fact that I assume Mary Franson's suing on unconstitutional grounds, right?
Right.
Okay. But you voted for the unconstitutional legislation.
Right.
And you allowed it to become law. So the big story here is you literally could have listened to us. March 13th, 2023, we were calling out how bad this bill was, right? You could have listened to us, got a faction of people up at the Capitol to vote against it, and saved our taxpayers money by not now having to get court time and pay Keith Ellison, because she's going to be going up in court against Keith Ellison as Attorney General, who's going to be representing. What is she suing? Is she suing the legislature? How does that? I don't even
I'm
know.
not sure.
But
I
it'll
gotta
be
go back
she'll
and
be
check,
suing
but
essentially
it's a
Keith
federal
Ellison in
lawsuit.
court. So
Right.
now who's paying Keith Ellison's salary here? Us taxpayers. When you could have just actually worked your butt off as a legislature to stop this bill from passing.
And you know, she's out there saying, you know, I was for the pornography section, but against the other section. Well, really, I guess I should be able to find a speech of you on the floor saying that. Then, right? I guess I should be able to find you arguing that. Well, nope, that doesn't exist. So, you know, she's
they
just
tried
trying
to use a
claim
deep
one
fake
thing
against
after
me
the
when I
fact.
ran.
What's that?
Yeah, sure, that gas can photo.
Yeah.
Deepfake, huh?
Well, I think back to The Running Man, so all this stuff gets me a little nervous. But you know, where they framed Arnie and all
I'm
that
worried
stuff.
about Terminator. I'm worried about a lot of things going on in this world coming true.
Hey man, but you know, sometimes I guess to these politicians, the Constitution gets in their way,
Yes.
and it's actually kind of funny because what will be coming up in this hearing is certainly going to be a question that I asked Heinzman, because he told the chief this, that he had a fight against the Constitution, both the state and the feds, and he was whining how that was too constrictive to him, and you know, hey, oh. And if he splits the vote, how am I going to make a living?
Really?
That's who we're working with. So you know, it is what
no
it is.
shock there.
So,
what do you
so
got?
is this unconstitutional suing thing? Is this gonna be like the Minnesota courts have to decide whether or not deep fakes are free speech?
Well, it's in the federal courts right now. So
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, there was a good judgment in California. A judge blocked enforcement of Gavin Newsom's bill. Elon Musk has been big about this thing here recently. So, you know, I think Mary is just jumping onto something that a lot of people are, you know, thinking of right now. But it's just so funny because, like, you know, and apparently some other guy wanted to do the suit and he found her for some reason. But it's like, boy, you know, of all the people that, you know, could have filed suit against it, maybe the one person in the whole legislature that voted against a thing, maybe you could have come and talk to Nate Wiesenberg.
And this is the first time I've heard about it.
You
When I
never
sat down
heard
in
of
this
it.
chair right now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so Alpha News reached out to her and talked to her. Why don't you reach out to me? I voted
Right.
against it. It's not constitutional. I mean, do your job.
Your name's not even in the article.
And that's what I mean. They're probably a little mad at me because I've been giving them shit because they're not doing news. It should be balanced. It's not balanced news. It's go after the left and we won't talk about what the right's doing.
Yeah, and promote the establishment right.
You know,
that's the
I mean,
lane they're in.
We've heard
these
all
days.
kinds of stuff about Krisha, but literally, I'll just bring up the one thing. They're like, look at what this Democrat did. That was literally Ron Krisha's bill that he introduced, and you're saying it's bad. Look what the Democrats did. They took his bill from years ago, the illegal immigration one, and they used it, and they're saying, look what they did. Well, say who wrote the bill.
Yeah. He's censoring himself. All right, we got to get to our post show. I got big thing.